We're at a Cambridge project today, and we are back on site. We took a little break after demo. It's always good to do that to kind of reconnect and understand what's going on site so we can roll into it and be super efficient. But what we got going on? A little plumbing. So a little recap, we are in a multi-unit condo building. This is an old elevator factory turned into these amazing two-story lofts. And so that means we need to coordinate with the building anytime we're impacting something structural such as this concrete slab. So we worked with the building, made sure that we understood what are the implications are for cutting the concrete slab. Mike, Tim, and Brian, they worked on figuring out where everything goes. And we decided that, hey, let's cut out one big section rather than little sections and trenching. And that's exactly what we did here. We got about a 6-inch concrete slab. Jump down in here. About a 6-inch concrete slab. Everything was cut into 1x1 cubes, jackhammered out, and then we excavated. And then what you see is this sand layer, essentially to protect. So I'm walking into a water meter here. Protect all of the PVC plumbing that is below grade, tying into the existing. So we're in the general location of where this was, but we had to move things because of the design. So let me recap here. Essentially vent, we have a washer dryer, we have a vent over there, a drain over there for a future hand washing station at the entry, shower drain, sink, toilet, and then that kitchen sink right there will go all the way over to the loft area. So now that this is done, they got inspection. We can backfill with a layer of sand on top of it, the organic material, and then what we'll do is we'll drill and rebar into the existing concrete slab and place a slab back here, and that will structurally connect it to the existing slab. And what we have here is basically a rubber isolator, and this is to allow the pipe to have a little bit of flexibility between the concrete and the PVC rather than putting it tight to it. We were just talking about, should we have put a sleeve so it can slip up and down? But this allows for movement, but also gives you that airtight connection between concrete. And that's what the plumber recommended. So, hey, that's what we're going to do. So that will go back. We'll continue our air barrier, bring our subfloor in. And then, of course, we want to make sure we're prepping for a curbless shower. So this right here, typically if we were gluing our floor or tiling right to the concrete, we'd have to recess that, but we're not. And the reason being is because our floor system is the vapor barrier, the dry core, 1/2-inch radiant panels, and then our 3/4-inch wood flooring. So that gives us enough build up here to match the tile and then pitch it back to that drain. And this side over here, loft is all framed. Still temporarily supported. It's because we got steel coming this week. And Tim and Coop have prepped these stud bays to get our steel post in. And essentially what will happen is behind here, steel post will sit on the concrete, go up and saddle that triple LVL in all 4 corners. Check this out. We found these old plans. Essentially, this loft, if you guys remember, this loft was actually removed because of how poorly it was built. But when this unit was sold, it was prepped for a future loft. Well, we found the steel in the wall. That's exactly what this is. This steel post. And it was in the wall over there, prepped for a future loft. It was not used, it was floating. And fun fact, this little painted section here, that was actually in the neighbor's unit. So when we pulled this post out, it was a little peephole, and they knocked on the door and said, hey, there's a hole in my wall now. So we'll get over there and we'll patch that up, and we'll get rid of this and put a new post. Same thing on this side. See everything going on. What's up, Tim? Let's go up there and we'll talk about what's going on. So, up top. Light gauge metal framing, we talked about that, but essentially lumber prices, doesn't make sense to frame this out of lumber, and a lot of the building is already framed out of light gauge metal. Some of this is actually heavy gauge metal stud for structural support. Like this loft we're standing on is actually attached to it. I'm standing in a future bedroom, and looking up here, this is actually going to be a clear story window, and now I bet you know why. We get this awesome skylight that we want to really allow that light to pour through, and that clear story window will create also separation for what I'm standing in now is the bedroom. And then there'll be another window above here that will look over the loft. So you'll get this, you won't lose the natural light from that skylight. Well, I guess not lose it, but it wouldn't be just confined to that bathroom, which would be really, really nice. The guys got this plate prepped out. Another shower here, a little recess in the subfloor. That will work for our curbless shower, and we're a coupe. He's putting some temp railings up so none of us fall. But once we get through the steel, we get some additional steel going on this loft. We'll actually remove this whole section, put a beam all the way, and this is going to be a future staircase. Really, really slick looking. It's going to be a steel C-channel with oak treads and some integrated lighting. Really, really cool looking. But open this up, and again, you know, having that clear story window in this wall, allowing the light to pour from here back to the bedroom down the space is going to be killer. But let me walk you through what we got going on as far as HVAC. Because HVAC is one of the biggest things that we're not battling with, but working on here. A couple things that we have to take into consideration that have been really important is sound, comfortability, and air purification. Let's talk about sound. So sound is really important, and obviously no one wants a rushing air sound, but we're going down a step further. We want to eliminate ambient noise and vibration, everything that we possibly can to make it as quiet as possible. So for heating, we're actually going to go with a radiant system. I'm going to take this off a second. We're going to go with a radiant system, and that radiant system will be throughout the entire first floor. Remember, we are on second floor of a loft here. The radiant will be on the first floor, and as you know, heat rises up. So doing it on the second floor here is really unnecessary. Mike, are we doing radiant in this section up here, or just the first?
Just the first.
Yeah, we're nothing up here, right? No. All right. I just wanted to make Brian correct. We're doing an electric radiant for floor warming underneath the tile. I wanted to make sure we weren't doing the bedroom. But essentially that will warm the entire space up and allow this space to stay warm in the colder months, which we're primarily a heating climate zone. And that's quiet. It's really quiet. You're not getting any of the air rushing. Now cooling is really difficult here because it's 2 stories. It's open. You have the loft over here. You have this open loft here. You have these big windows down there. You have south-facing windows up here. You have all these skylights. The cooling load is really difficult, but heating rises, cooling drops. So we want to be cooling from the ceiling down. Now, it's not a very large space in the sense of floor area, but it is hard. And like I said, it's an open 2-story, 18-foot ceiling. We need to be cognizant of that. So what we're going to be doing, what we're proposing right now, where a coupe is sitting, is actually an elevator, and we have some space above it. Above the elevator, again, this is subject to changing, but above the elevator, we're going to have a 3-ton unit that is going to do the primary space, and that's down below into the kitchen. Let me walk over here. Essentially, we have kitchen over here, dining and living, dining area. We have essentially an opening off to the side that goes into a living room. So that 3-ton unit is going to do most of the primary area cooling. Then we're going to do a 1.5-ton unit also up there that's going to do this sitting room and this bedroom and bathroom. So that way it's zoned differently. We're not getting these spikes in heating call, or we have to put the thermostat in a weird area. It's completely separate. Finally, we have the section over here, which is the second floor office. Now, the reality is maybe that unit will keep that space relatively cool, but we want to be able to temper that separately, especially if someone's working in there. They don't want to be freezing down here and just comfortable enough. So we're going to do another unit. We're thinking it's going to be within that floor system and will feed up. And again, a lot of that is subject to change because of architectural details, and a lot of the exposed ductwork is going to run across the ceiling. So we want it to look good, but we also need it to really perform well. So we're working with Ross at T2 Engineering, as well as our HVAC contractor, to work through these details. One thing I forgot. We are going to be installing a low CFM kitchen exhaust, so we're not bringing in makeup air, but we're going to be installing a high CFM ERV, and that's to help combat that radon issue that we talked about early on in this project, but also have ultrafiltration. So all of these air handlers will have a MERV 13, and then the ERV is as well. One thing that we're actually investigating is UV light filtration for viruses and things like that. So we talk about air quality, we talk about sound, we talk about comfort. So a lot of thoughts going into this, and there's a lot of challenges working against, not against us, but a lot of challenges here with the 2-story space, the open lofts, 18-foot ceilings, lots of glazing, and then just doing that in a manner that's quiet, or as quiet as possible, because the ambient noise and frankly the client doesn't want to hear this stuff. So really thoughtful approach. So I hand it to the team to for all the work that they put into it. Excited to see that come together. So that's a quick update at Cambridge. Like I said, Coop's getting some temp railings up, maybe permanent. They could look good permanently, right?
Yeah, why not? The rough look.
The rough look. Those 2x4s are like $12 a piece.
Yeah, exactly.
So next time we get here, that loft will be fully supported. We'll get our staircase framed up. Like I said, we'll start prepping for this staircase here. But it's exciting to see this place come together. Oh, and a few of you guys have asked, these trusses, as well as our stale staircase, that's all going to get painted black. And then we just got the approval to get the ceiling painted a different color, which you might not be able to tell. It's more of a taupe color. So we're hoping they go with a nice contrasting bright white. You guys like these site visits, you know what to do. We'll see you guys next week.